All right, so we already discussed the intern or summer analyst. Let's talk about the next level, which is when a summer analyst actually gets hired. Or in some cases, if there is no summer analyst program, it's just the first level that you'll earn at an investment bank, and that is the level of analyst. Analyst is followed by associate, which is followed by vice president. So we start at the analyst level. In a typical investment bank, analysts are analysts for approximately 2 years. That might vary by 1 year, but pretty much it's usually a 2-year program. Depending on what desk you're sitting on, you might have a rotation where every 6 months you rotate to a different area until eventually they settle you for 1 year. The desk I was in, what they did is they would do 3 6-month rotations. That's a year and a half. And then the analyst would settle down in one area, get 1 full year, so that's 2.5 years, and then be promoted to associate. So what is an analyst and what are the analyst's tasks? Well, the analyst's responsibilities are to do tasks, just that. At every other level, you'll see that the responsibilities are much more than just individual tasks. But as an analyst, you have very clear guidelines, very clear set tasks that you need to do. In some cases, if you're a reporting analyst, your task might be to prepare a PowerPoint deck, and you might have very specific directives, which are, okay, the first quarter of the deck or the first third focuses on this, the middle is this. You need to focus on the last third of the deck, which are the graphs, and make sure that they're in line and that no numbers go above some. It's usually pretty specific, and the training is usually pretty good. In all of my years observing analysts, I have seen analysts be fired for lack of performance a grand total of 0 times. I'll get into, when I get into the promotion part, kind of how they do get fired, but it's just a very interesting thing. It's like if the summer internship program was an interview, then this is your trial period, essentially. So you do have tasks to do, you do have responsibilities and exams to take so that you can interact with clients, but you're still not quite there in terms of somebody that's extremely valuable to the institution. So barriers to entry. What does it take to become an analyst at an investment bank? Well, the major barrier is that if you are not a summer analyst, how do you become an analyst? For sales and trading desks and investment banking programs, the answer is you usually don't. It's extremely challenging. Like I mentioned, analysts get fired very infrequently. And because of that, the analysts that come in from the summer analyst program will typically be analysts for 2 years, maybe get promoted and leave and go to a different bank or a hedge fund. But until then, they have no need to hire. So it's very rare to actually find an analyst role anywhere. If you look at more of the middle office type jobs, whether it's risk management, reporting, compliance, even IT, you can find analyst positions because those don't usually run on the summer analyst into 2 year. They're not as systematic and they're not as, set in stone that you've got that 2 years later, you get this. Those are more of the front office roles such as sales and trading, investment banking, and equity research, those kind of roles. So the barrier to entry number 1 is getting that summer analyst program. Barrier to entry number 2 is, the second way you can become an analyst is in the event an analyst get fired or a bank really just needs help with some tasks, they might hire an analyst, but they will always require 1 year of experience. Or they might say 0 to 3, that's kind of the thing they throw around. They really just want somebody who's proven as an employee. Usually you don't need to be, even if they say it's true, you don't need to have the same tasks. So this is actually a great opportunity for people to get into an industry that they would otherwise have trouble breaking into. At the analyst level, you're really not expected to have that many skills yet. Whether it's breaking into investment banking, equity research, or sales and trading, you might come from risk management or a financial analyst role. As long as you have some core finance skills and a solid looking resume, you do stand a chance. Responsibilities. Well, I kind of cheated and already covered this, but it's very simple. It's your tasks. You have your tasks to do. You will be judged on your tasks. You'll be graded on your tasks. And most analysts actually do a pretty poor job at their tasks initially. This is expected, and the banks are prepared for this, and you do get mentorship and training. You just have to be courageous enough to own up to it and to say, I understand I messed up. Help me. What am I doing wrong? How can I improve myself? Promotions. Promotions, like I said, every 2 years, like clockwork. This is more of the front office roles: investment banking, equity research, sales, and trading. If it didn't happen in 2.5 years, something is very wrong. Or certainly 3 years, something is very, very wrong. But that's the way promotions happen. And you really just have to not get fired. It's pretty simple. Do your tasks. In the IT compliance risk management roles, you actually get graded on your tasks a fair bit more, which is funny because they're not the front office roles. You'd expect them to be easier, but there is a stronger level of scrutiny around actually completing your tasks and getting noticed. So it's a little interesting in that regard. The more technical roles do actually grade your tasks a little heavier. Now, about getting fired, I mentioned this. I kind of lump it in with the promotion thing because it's either you're getting promoted or getting fired in some, at least at the more junior levels. You get fired as an analyst if you don't get along well with everyone else. That's really it. And that's what I've seen. I've seen 3 to 4 analysts in my entire banking career get fired, and it was all for just personality reasons. Show up late, don't get along with people, talk behind people's back. It's all the soft skills. It's the things that you are taught. This is what professional people do in a professional setting. Don't mess it up, and you go ahead and mess it up. So be friendly. Don't be offensive. Be cordial. That kind of thing. Meet people, smile. It's not rocket science, but I've seen it happen. I've seen people mess it up. So try not to mess that up. Compensation, pretty much across the board for top tier banks, you're going to be making 90, 95K as a base. In the more back office roles, it might be 85. It doesn't really matter. Somewhere between 85 and 95 is your base. The bonus is really insignificant. In IT, you might get a $5,000 bonus, maybe $10,000 if you're exceptional. In front office, you might get anywhere from $20,000 to $40,000, but none of it will be life-changing money. You don't take an analyst role so you can become wealthy. You take an analyst role so that you can get promoted to associate, and that's where the money really kicks in, typically. Not so much in the back office roles, but still, that's where you start living a better lifestyle. As an analyst, you're not going to make, it's nice. You're going from being an intern to suddenly making 6 figures, essentially. That's pretty cool. But the bonus is not earth-shattering money, so don't expect that to happen. Well, that's the roundup for analyst. Associate is super fun because I was actually an associate for many years before being promoted to vice president, and I'll get through kind of why that is as well when I do the next video, and I'll see you next week.